love more than these, what does that mean? But secondly, I want to talk about what does love mean? What do we mean by love? Love, in the contractual relationship, there has to be a meeting of the minds relative to the terms. There has to be an agreement on what these terms mean. In verse 16 of our text, it says, he said to him a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. In English, there sounds like a lot of redundancy here. Sounds like a lot of redundancy. Do you love me? Yes, I love you. Do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord, you know I love you. Do you love me? Simon, son of John, Simon, Bar-Jonah, do you love me? Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. You are God, you know that I love you. Sounds a lot like a lot of redundancy relative to this. But you have to understand this in the original languages. Now, we're dealing with Aramaic. They were likely speaking Aramaic, and then it was translated into the Greek. When you see a translation in the Greek of the terms here, they're using two different words for love. Peter and Jesus are using two different words for love. And although the English language, we have so many words that we do not need, when it comes to love, we only use one word. And that's where it can be the source of many disagreements and misunderstanding, is because what love means to somebody else can mean something different to you, because love is more on a scale. Love is more like on a spectrum. And if you're not in the same place on the spectrum, you're not even talking about the same thing. Not talking about the same thing. We talking about you love me. Do you love me like you love chocolate? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean you love me? You love me like you love your television show? What do you mean by you love me? Do you love me like you love to eat? Do you love me like you love your dog? Do you love me like you love your mama? What do you mean when you say you love me? There needs to be some agreement on what that term means to each person if you're trying to get in a relationship, so that there can be a connection. So Jesus is saying, when he's saying to Peter, he says, Peter, in the Greek, Peter, do you agapeo love me? Peter says, Lord, I phileo love you. Jesus says, feed my lambs. Second time, Jesus says, Peter, do you agapeo love me? Peter says, yes, Lord, you know I phileo love you. Jesus says, tend to my sheep. Final version, Jesus says, changes. Jesus says, Peter, do you phileo love me? Peter says, yes, Lord, you're Lord of all. Well, he doesn't really say yes. He says, Lord, you're Lord of all things. You know all things. You should know I phileo love you. There's a meeting of the minds. And then Jesus says, then feed my sheep.